All right, well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome here to Eltham for this afternoon's encounter between the Eltham Wildcats and the Ballarat Rush. It is our 18th side taking on the 7th side in the Eltham Wildcats in this first matchup this afternoon. My name is Tyson Wheel, and I'm joined as always by Greg Jeffers from the Eltham Wildcats Basketball Club here in Melbourne's northeast. It's a pleasure to have you alongside me once again, Greg, and we are looking forward to this matchup that has just got underway.
Thank you, Tyson. Both teams coming off on the back end of a doubleheader here, so it should be a good game again. Great start for three.
So it's Laura Taylor who hits the scoreboard with a 3-ball to start this afternoon's encounter, and the Ballarat Rush are the first to get a score. And so heading underneath off the glass, it's 2 points down the other end for Chelsea Brooke. So it's a steal for Captain Vanessa Panousis, right you are. And now we are 1 minute into this first quarter of basketball here in Eltham. It's Chelsea Schweers who tries off the glass but can't get it to go. And now we can hear ourselves.
Sorry if there was a delay from us. It was, we're having some sound issues at our end.
And
rebound by Mulligan.
Yes, right you are.
To Ellis. She was fantastic last night. Nice little turnaround to Mulligan. Mid-range jumper from Mulligan, it's 2. Takes Eltham to 4-3.
As you mentioned, it's a doubleheader for both sides today. It marks second part of their weekend of basketball. It was Eltham who took on Frankston last night, and it was the Eltham girls who had a nice 76-67 win. Both of us got down there to have a look of that match. It was a solid performance by the Wildcats last night.
It was by the Wildcats. They were good. Of course, once Steph Reid did her ankle, it certainly left them short, Frankston short on firepower. But young Erin Riley was good, but the Eltham team certainly, the big four, big five, this starting group certainly got them through, and Sian Gillam helped out off the bench too.
Underneath off the glass, it's 2 points for Mulligan.
And I thought Rihanna Barton was huge for them last night defensively. Coming up with the goods for Eltham. And Ballarat likewise certainly went with Kilsyth for the majority of the game, and unfortunately that Kilsyth depth got them through late in the stage.
It was a long 2 there from Olivia Hackman. She's putting up 16.2 points per game, so she'll no doubt be on the scorer's board plenty of times this afternoon. It was a good pass into Alice off the glass, finishes for 2 points. It was a good spot from Mulligan.
One thing we've seen consistently with our women's matches is nothing, certainly free-flowing scoring at both ends for both teams. It was last time against Launceston, there was a lot of scoring. Frankston again last night, and then here we are today again. Both sides getting good looks.
Turning to the basket again from the long 2 range. Couldn't get it to go that time was Amour. And now it is Alice again with the ball inside. It's Brooke making some room for herself. Turns to the basket. It's a foul. And it's an offensive foul this time. So it'll be no basket to count, and it'll be a Ballarat ball. The Eltham girls just processing that for a moment.
It was something Coach Jess May was looking for regularly last night, actually. So that would irate her, I'd imagine, to see an offensive call today.
Yes. So the Ballarat Rush enter this afternoon winless so far in this NBL1 inaugural season. They played 6 times. Last night they came up against Kilsyth. Now from long range, it was Hackman again, couldn't get it to go. And now it's Schweers. She looks across to Panousis inside, going to work. It's Mulligan, matches up against Bow, another great player in this NBL1 competition. Can't get it to go. And last night, as I said, they took on Kilsyth, went down 66-88. Kilsyth, a really quality side. Had some tough losses along the way. Went down by just 3 points to Knox and just 8 points to the Border Bandits. in round 5. So now it's Bow looking to open her scoring, can't get it to go.
They have had a tough schedule to start the year when you look at that. You know, to go down by only a few points to Knox, they're a high-quality team. Albury with Nonga, you're never quite sure. You know, but when you've got someone like Hurst running around, they're a good side. So certainly the record doesn't reflect the talent they have on the side as they've started this game. They're only 8-7 down here to start, and they've looked pretty good.
So it was 2 points from Taylor. And now it's Eltham once again with possession. Yeah, it's a tale of two sides for Ballarat this season between their women's and men's side, because the women come into this afternoon 0-6, the men come in 6-0. So we have an 8, and now it's Brooke from long range. We have an 18th place side and a first ranked side, so that's what we have on offer this afternoon. And two Eltham teams certainly looking to get a win.
For the Eltham girls, this would get them, you know, they're 7th going into today's game, but I know they're certainly, they are keen to get their record to 6-3 and get some breathing space between them and, you know, sort of that top 12 and the bottom 6 teams. So this would be significant for them to do that.
Well, turning to the basket, it was Mulligan. Probably wanted to convert on that one with some space, but she can't get it to go.
Both sides with some genuine size as well. Often we've sat here and talked about Mulligan and Brooke and the two-headed monster almost inside the paint, but Ballarat's got some size themselves. They're able to rotate into the game to compete physically and for height.
And now, trying from 3, it was once again Taylor.
Haven't been shy, have they?
She's shooting at 38% from the three-point area this season so far. Now it's Schwiz.
She'll be getting edgy. She hasn't had a look yet.
Yeah.
5.5 minutes in, she's yet to have a three-point attempt. Nice drive, Panousis.
Schwiz, on the other hand, is shooting 43% from outside the perimeter, and that 43% comes from a lot of three-point shots as well. So you'll no doubt see her throwing up a few this afternoon.
Panousis finishes the N1. 11-7. Another three-point attempt. But Brooke's been called for the hold again.
The Rush attempting to shoot themselves into form a little bit this afternoon so far in our first quarter. A few 3 balls. And having a substitution now, it's the Wildcats. Panousis and Brooke head to the bench.
Blocked by Mulligan.
Blower throws it back in the court, but only as far as Gillum. And she kicks it on to Alice. She had 2 points herself this afternoon of their 11 points. And now it's Mulligan, or looks down to Gillum, but she was on the back cut. More subs for the Rush. Constable enters the court for the first time this afternoon, as well as Annie Collins.
Another three-point attempt. Rebound, and again.
Straight back up. This time it connects, and it's 3 points for Shanice Jenkins. She comes off the bench. She's putting up 10 points per game. She's a solid player. She's played at international level for a few years now. O'Neill looks up to Alice. Mulligan comes to set the pick with some space. Heading around on that left hand. Spots Gillum. 6 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Throws it up in desperation. Comes down to Jenkins.
Constable, followed by Gillum. This on-ball caused a lot of trouble for Eltham last week. Ballarat gone to it. Another three-point attempt.
Oh, it's good Constable all the way from Constable. And all of a sudden, it's the Rush with the lead by 2 points. It's been a good quality quarter of basketball from both sides. The foul called, and it will be Chelsea Schwiz heading to the free throw line, where she's shooting 67% so far this season. Ballarat have shot 3 from 8 from the perimeter. And Schweers makes the first.
She's on the board.
Mulligan has pulled down, has put up 4 points so far, leading the scoring for the Wildcats. Taylor has 5. Schweers makes both her free throws. And Panousis, probably not the tallest player on the court, has already pulled down 4 rebounds, which is quite impressive.
There has been a lot of long rebounds, hasn't there? Ballarat shot a lot of threes early, resulting in a lot of long boards. Alice.
Oh, Alice, she fought for it. She won't be happy with that foul, but it is a foul nonetheless. And to go with the foul, it's a warning for the Eltham bench.
There was an appeal, a fair heavy complaint from the Eltham team, and they're warned early. Another 3-point attempt.
Jenkins this time from the perimeter. Another offensive rebound comes down to Bow. Goes back to Jenkins. Does she go for another 3? Not this time. Wait a minute. Yes, she does. Couldn't get the splash that time either.
Another offensive rebound.
And now Jenkins puts it off the glass. It's 2 points. She had 3 shots in that phase of play, I think. And she ends up with 2 points.
It's hard to keep count. There was too many offensive rebounds.
Oh, yeah.
Eltham just got to stay patient here. One of the greatest difficulties with playing someone with a 0-7 record is the mentality you go in with, especially coming off a win against a team like Frankston. Making sure you come in with the right attitude to execute the game plan. But nice
2 points from Mulligan. Mulligan's been big so far this season. She's putting up 16.1 points per game. And she already has 6 so far this afternoon. And it's another 3.
Massive.
And once again unsuccessful with another O-board.
About to say another massive rebound, but Ballarat come away with it.
It's been a bit like that so far.
The offensive rebound count would be quite high early, you would think. Nice drive from Ellis. Doesn't quite get the roll. Good boards from O'Neill.
So far, the offensive rebounds are 7 in favour of the Rush, 0 for Eltham. So
it almost feels like it's all been on the last 2 plays at the Ballarat end.
Oh, it was a good pass. Panousis spotted Mulligan. She's fouled. Knocks it in for 2. Head to the line for 1 more.
Panousis just is that steady head for the Eltham team.
Yep.
Steady head. She keeps some more emotional individuals in check and also distributes incredibly well at times. You often find she's the one who finds Mulligan or a Book inside.
What's Panousis' involvement with Eltham throughout the years? Is she a recent addition or?
Yeah, recent addition. She was not a Wadding last year. As a Sydney-based girl. But yeah, first year with us and has been incredibly positive around the association.
Yep. Straight into the captain's role.
Indeed.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, come across having worked with Grant last year. Grant knew what he was bringing in within a team that's a lot of new players. Foul for Mulligan.
Bowers fouled on the floor, so it will be an inbound.
A show of confidence here in Barton, given her performance last night to get her in within that first quarter. Duly rewarded. Just hit some important buckets last night and played a defensive role as well.
Offers a lot at the defensive end. Now she heads to Annie Collins for the matchup. So Jenkins inbounds, looking inward this time. Will they go for a point in the paint? Can't get it to go. It was a good D from O'Neill. And so there's 38 seconds of play left. Don't let the graphic fool you. And now underneath Barton is fouled.
It's good. We spoke about it here last week. Just wanting that bench to have that a little bit more of an scoring presence, a little bit more of a scoring threat. Barton did that last night, and then you find another fine to her right there. Positive signs.
Happy Mother's Day, of course, to all the mums watching from around the world, wherever you're tuning in from on this Sunday afternoon in Melbourne.
Little dispute over the outer court, but it'll be an Eltham ball.
So it's Alice. I think she's really come into her own over the last few weeks, Abby Alice.
Grown into it, hasn't she?
Oh, yeah. O'Neill, mid-range jumper, puts it in for 2 points. She's only young, so she has plenty of experience still to gain in a competition like this, but she's been a strong scoring presence as well as a defensive one as well over the last couple of weeks.
Start from O'Neill today to go as well. That nice little mid-range jumper and got the stop defensively there before. And that's what coach is wanting.
And a splash from Millie Cracknell to end the first quarter of play, and with that, draws it to an even game.
As I said earlier, plenty of scoring, isn't there? They started at a high tempo. 20 apiece in the first quarter is a good sign. As I was sort of saying, though, I think we've been talking about how we're wanting more to come from that Eltham bench instead of a scoring presence, and certainly started that way today. And as I said, following on from last night, Bridget O'Neill making an impact there with a nice little mid-range jumper. So certainly in the right direction. It's building.
Shui is just with the 2 points so far. She averages 23 points per game. So probably has a bit left to come in these final 3 quarters.
But Ballarats look good. We said right from the start, they're not a 0-7 team. By the way they've been playing, when they're on, they've looked very, very good. And with the second import coming in this weekend, again, certainly not. They're not a 0-7 team within this competition. They won't be there for much longer.
And they do bring some scoring presence off the bench as well, because Constable is putting up 13 points per game. Jenkins, who came off the bench as well, puts up 10 points per game. So they do have a share of scorers, and they'll be looking into their depth to hopefully come away with perhaps their first win of the season.
Well, he's got all 10 into the game in that first quarter, showing his confidence in his roster. As coach Brendan Joyce walks in, he'll be very happy, I would have thought, with their win last night over Kilsyth.
Some of those big Ballarat boys walking in before was quite an intimidating experience. They're massive guys.
As we pink round this weekend for NBL1, supporting Breast Cancer Network Australia. Of course, you can make your donations. It is an official event that NBL1 has supported this weekend. So make sure you jump online and make your donations. Second quarter coming about. The referee complaining about the spectators to us personally, just in my commentary role today. Can't do too much to help.
You have to speak to a court supervisor.
Court supervisor might be more appropriate. As we're underway, start of the second quarter, Gillam to Panusis. Eltham staying with O'Neill.
Yeah, I was about to say O'Neill remains on the court. Did well in that first quarter, deserves a spot out there. Panusis with the ball. What does she do? 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Gives it to Barton. Had some space. Knocks it in for 2. And I say she had some space. She didn't really. There was a couple of defenders around, but she did get the shot away.
Panusis' third assist. I said earlier, just finds, is usually the one you find, making some good passes and creating shots for others.
Cochran, she's the tall player out in the middle there. And now for 3. And knocked down by Hackman. She has 5 points now. Going tit for tat so far this afternoon, and it's the Rush leading by a single point. The pass to O'Neill was intercepted there by Jenkins off the glass, an easy finish for 2 points. And Eltham just got to find a way to settle themselves momentarily. Sean Gillam to O'Neill. Now Panus is matching up against a good quality defender in Jenkins. Passes to Ellis. Now Gillam. Barton sets the pick. Now with some room, what does she decide to do? 3 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Panusis double team, throws it over the defenders, doesn't hit the ring. It'll be a shot clock violation, and it'll be Rush with the ball for another score potentially as the substitution's made.
It's almost just it was executing the offense for executing's sake, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a bit like that. You do want to run through your sets, obviously, but sometimes just have to find the scoring option. So it was Mulligan and Schwiers, arguably 2 of the best players on this Eltham side, who ran to the court. Bao, she's a tall player, plays for the Chinese Taipei team, international level. And now Jenkins, it looked good all the way. And all of a sudden, is the Rush leading by 6 points. Panusis is fouled. It's the first foul of the quarter.
The Eltham team just lacking a little intensity at the moment. Just with that, spoke before, just you have a little bit, you get a bit nervous as a coach with these kind of games.
Yep.
You come off a big game, getting a big win, you come up against a 0-7 side. I said before, Ballarat are better than a 0-7 side. They've got more talent than that. Just hope they come in and they got to get the intensity back, the Eltham side, as they turn it over and Ballarat run.
It was a hard-fought win last night against Frankston. As I mentioned, Ballarat had a tough loss to Kilsyth. It's another 3 for Jenkins. As I said, they were shooting themselves into form in that first quarter, and now it's truly coming on display in this second quarter.
You shoot as confidently as she did in the first quarter. You know she's obviously a good shooter. Yep. She backs herself.
They're shooting 7 from 15 from the perimeter now. Panousis, Mulligan's presenting inside. Bow overcommitting, and there's a foul called. An offensive foul, indeed, on O'Neill. And it's a timeout, probably rightfully taken by the Eltham bench. What hasn't stuck in this second quarter that's given Ballarat this 9? I mean, obviously Ballarat have been strong as well, but Eltham looking a little out of sorts.
They are, aren't they? Just looking, giving Ballarat space, giving Ballarat space to shoot the 3 early on. Ballarat couldn't make them, but clearly they got confidence in their own shooting ability, and Eltham challenged them and let them have that. Challenge them by means of giving them space, I guess. Let them have it, and they've put a couple down. 9 points, starting to get to that dangerous space, that dangerous territory for Eltham. But you'd think he's looking to sub Brooke back in, which you'd imagine was always likely to go back to his starting group and call upon them to drag the intensity back at both ends of the floor. Offensively, I said before, it looks like they're just executing their offenses with little purpose of looking to score.
It's an 11-0 scoring run at the moment in favour of Ballarat. And that's all come in really these last couple of minutes, where they've really come alive from the perimeter, have Ballarat, and they're shooting at 43% from the field. Eltham also respectively shooting 56% from the field, just probably not getting away all the shots that they'd like to.
Couple of turnovers as well,
and yeah, Eltham with 8 turnovers to 2, so it's certainly been a significant factor.
Full credit to Ballarat though. This 2.5 minutes have been outstanding, both ends of the floor. Those
offensive rebounds as well, we mentioned 7 to 2 in favour of Ballarat. Eltham will wanting to remedy that in this latter stage. There's more points for Hackman. She has 7 now. And it's another score straight out of the timeout for Ballarat. Now it's Brooke, an experienced player for this Eltham side. Gives it to Mulligan. Schweers now looking to get her first 3 ball. Can't get it to connect. It's a rebound for Bow. Schweers gathers the ball just on the halfway line on an intercept. Wasn't a very great pass, it must be noted. Now Panousis gives it to Schweers from 3. Again, oh, was another. Here we go. Some offensive rebounds coming in favour of the Wildcats now.
Good effort from Gillum there.
Yep.
Schweer's not happy with Ballarat's attention. Believes she's copping a whack on the hands after the release, which referee says, yep, that's on the hand and that's okay.
So Georgia Amorak enters the court in exchange for Millie Cracknell. She's had 3 points so far. She heads to the bench. Panousis, a couple of screens, gives her some room. Finds Schweers. Does she shoot? Not this time around. 6 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Mulligan matches up against Bowes. A foul definitely off the glass. She makes it for 2 points. What a finish.
She's impressive, isn't she? I remember sitting here last Sunday and we were just admiring her footwork in the post. They'll certainly want that. Get back to, that's what we certainly have found in the past, is Schweers and Panousis can really open up that perimeter when you force some doubles to go at the likes of Mulligan and Brooke down low. Force the opposition to make some decisions. There's very few players in this league that are going to go with Mulligan one-on-one down low.
She has 12 points already so far this afternoon, and now once again it's Hackman who knocks it in.
Range of players getting involved.
Some of those perimeter shots were a little bit novelty in that first quarter, but wow, have they been successful so far in the second quarter. Is a mid-range jumper for Brooke.
Back 20-9. Eltham.
Oh, the pass wasn't anticipated, but Mulligan didn't spot it, so it's an easy 2 points in the end.
Mulligan started the box out.
Potential. Oh, what a pass. And a foul. Panousis, what a spot.
She's a great athlete, Chelsea Brook.
Yep.
We've seen that across the first 7 games of the season. Chelsea gets out and runs, and they're not switched on defensively. Panousis has a habit of finding Chelsea out on the break.
Mulligan and Brook both 188 centimetres, bring a lot of height into this side as a woman who, for the Ballarat, bring a lot of height, heads to the bench. Can she finish the 3-point play? She certainly does. And it's back to 8 points.
Stops. Eltham needs some stops. Ballarat have just, it's been a machine at this offensive end for them.
Jenkins and Hackman have both combined for 25 points of their 38 this afternoon as they lose touch of it. Schweers knocked it to Panousis. Panousis now with a transition ball, settles. Schweers presenting. In the end, chooses Chelsea Brook. She's a woman who can shoot a 3.
Again, gave her a little bit of space. She's shooting the ball at, what, 43%, 43% at the perimeter, I believe, this year. She gets 3 or 4 attempts away a game. That's an Ballarat fire back with another 3 via Hackman. And both sides firing away at the perimeter.
Chelsea Brook comes into this afternoon, this afternoon's match shooting 45% from the perimeter. She knocked down a few last weekend when we were here as they took on Launceston. It's a big rebound there for, it was Cochrane, yep. Jenkins looking to add to her 15 points. Can she make it 18? She can't, but it's another O board. Blower couldn't get it to finish. Panousis and Jenkins tussle over the ball. Jenkins regathered it. Oh, that was a lucky hand from Mulligan because there was a clear way to the basket in the back from Cochrane, but it was well intercepted. Blower matches up against Mulligan, looking for another 3 ball. Can't get it to fall.
Jenkins again. She's been dangerous.
She already has 15 points.
Why not?
As it's another 3 from Amora. Wowzers, these threes have really been huge in this second quarter.
Haven't been shy.
No.
Ballarat, right from the outset, they've launched away at the perimeter, and this second quarter they've been connecting.
It'll be interesting to see how long that can last for. Schweers tries for some more points. Mulligan knocks it down to Gillum. And now to Moore with the fast break. Couple of defenders, though, to work with. How does she negotiate? Ends up with Brook and decides that that's not a matchup she wanted to engage in. And now she tries for 3.
Over a hand. It's a bit more difficulty when you're shooting over the top of Chelsea Brook's hand, I would have thought.
Yep. Left with plenty of room.
Transition again.
It was very well done by the Ballarat defence in the end because it left Brook wide open in the keyway. They had the numbers, but couldn't match up. So it's 9 points is the difference. So Jenkins, they're down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. Schweers and Mulligan are combining for the defence, but it leaves open. Cochrane, who puts it up, bounces around, falls out of court. Ballarat will have another 14 seconds. It's Abby Ellis who enters the court for Eltham. And Laura Taylor enters the court for Ballarat as Cochrane. Scoreless so far, but she's pulled down 3 rebounds, heads to the bench.
Picks up the shot clock.
So Chelsea Brook and Maggie Mulligan leading the scoring for Eltham with 12 points each. Ballarat finds 15 through Jenkins, and Hackman, who has really had a presence from the perimeter in her shooting, has 13. Three minutes remaining in this first half of basketball.
I think we're just getting the shot clock back down. I think it was at 4, I think, at the time.
Was the shot not?
Well, I thought it hit the ring, to be quite honest with you. But
yeah, that's what I thought too. Nonetheless, for the Eltham fans out there, they won't mind it. Hackman now backing up, turns to the basket. They get it away before the shot clock, but it wasn't a great shot because it's Alice who loses touch of it. Now they're down to, they've got to get it over. No, they run out of time here.
Seconds.
Yeah, my understanding is that does have to go to 15, but nonetheless. 8-second violation called as Bow re-enters the court.
So you could argue one each for Ballarat.
Oh yeah, another three ball for Jenkins. Has 18 points, leads all scorers.
We're at 12. 12 points. It's a difference.
As I've said, and it shouldn't be really overstated because, as you said, it's not necessarily indicative of how good they are. As Panusha's tried to win 3, they are winless, the Ballarat Rush, and now they have a 12-point lead against a 7th-ranked side. As Ballarat lose touch of it. Coached by Eric Hayes at Ballarat. Has been around the Ballarat circle for about 29 years, I found out.
Legend of the minors program.
Been involved with the minors as well. In the men's side, took over a couple of years ago for the women's. Didn't have a great deal of success in Seabull last season, but looking to turn that around over the next couple of years, you'd imagine, with some development. Bow turns to the basket. He's fouled.
It's just lacking a little bit of something this game so far. Ballarat's looking outstanding, and the Eltham team just looking like they're lacking a little something. There's Bow. Makes the first.
Falls towards the ring and she puts it in.
Schweers is just itching for a 3. I can see it in her face.
Well, what I was going to say, but I didn't want to because you're standing right in front of me, was maybe what they're missing is a couple of 3 balls from Schweers, who's really been connecting from the perimeter so far this season usually. And now she has the ball. Credit to Ballarat, though. They are matching up against her quite well. Extraordinary defence.
They've scouted the actions with Chelsea really, really well, Ballarat. Even the zipper action that worked so well last night.
Left with plenty of room. It's a more from 3. It almost went in, but it bounced out. There's a foul called. Who will the foul be on? And so it'll be Ballarat with the ball.
No.
Okay, never mind.
Over
Maggie's
Maggie's back,
ball.
I believe.
Yep.
Maggie was certainly very confident it wasn't on her.
And it'll be 2 free throws here for Eltham. And it's Mulligan who heads to the free throw line, where she's shooting 74% so far this season, leading the free throw percentage outside of O'Neill and Sian Gillum. So she's right up there. And she makes the first.
Second as well. Off the front of the rim.
Neither were perfect, but
in.
got them both to go. And it's back to 12 points, 1 minute remaining in this second quarter of basketball. Heading inside, it's a Moore. She retreats, finds Jenkins. Schweers matches up. The pick comes from Hackman. Hackman now. Bow looking for some space from just outside the 3-point range. Another board for the Rush, who get an easy 2 points in the end. And that's their 11th offensive rebound to Eltham's 3 offensive rebounds so far. Oh, there'll be a foul there. It'll be 2 points, 2 free throws for Mulligan.
But it's not just the offensive rebounds aren't the bigs for Ballarat. It's actually those the guards coming through. Eltham guards just standing a little flat-footed, getting caught out, and Ballarat getting second, third looks every time.
51 points is a very decent haul from from Ballarat in this first quarter, this first half of basketball. Considering they're averaging 70 points per game so far this season, they've already put up 51.
11 of 22 from the perimeter, as it stands so far today.
Yep.
22 shots out of the 42.
Eltham are shooting 1 from 7 at 14%. And Mulligan makes the free throw. So Mulligan now with 15 points. 30 seconds remaining.
Coach Spence was expecting a 2-for-1 look there, but
Schweers pulls down the rebound. What can they do? A transition ball. They have the numbers. In the end, it was Barton with some space. The defense came, puts it up over some hands. Can't get it to fall. And now with 13 seconds remaining, it's the Rush with the final possession, you'd say, of this half of basketball. They lead by 13 points, Panousis. And now Mulligan. Jenkins puts it in from the long two-point area. And they head into halftime with all the momentum, leading by 15 points. It's been a display of basketball from Ballarat in that second quarter.
Well, that last shot from Jenkins really sums up the second quarter overall for Ballarat.
Mind you, they got a 3-ball right in the last second of the first quarter too.
Yeah, spot on. So that's a 33-point quarter, 33-point quarter from Ballarat. So I'm sure Coach Grant Spencer is not going to be thrilled, and that would be a dangerous space in which to be at half-time.
It is 15 points the margin, and Ballarat, they had a tough loss to Kilsyth last night. They'll be looking to turn that around here as they lead Eltham into the half-time break. If we look at the statistics, it's been a rebound show from Ballarat as well, who lead 23-16 in terms of the rebounding. The scorer as well, it's been Jenkins who's put up 20 points. She's also gathered 6 rebounds. She's shooting 62%. It's been a performance from Shanice Jenkins. She's a player that joins Ballarat after a distinguished international career. She represented the USA at the World University Games. She comes from DePaul University, and now she's already, as I mentioned, put up 20 points. She comes in to the weekend as Jenkins averaging 10 points per game, so she's outshowing herself so far. You're having a look at the statistics sheet there, Greg Jeffers. What are you seeing?
Well, Jenkins with 20 is obviously she was outstanding, and then the likes of Hackman being able to step in and make the bucket she did. They've been a cornerstone of the offensive end in that second quarter for Ballarat, but it is those second chance opportunities as well that's hurt Eltham. It's all good to have a team shooting the ball well at the perimeter. When they miss, you've got to make sure they don't get the second looks, and unfortunately for Eltham, that's exactly what Ballarat's done, taking advantage of second chance opportunities. Eltham typically have been a big threat at that three-point line. They'll be shocked, probably a little disappointed. They've only got 7 shots away at the perimeter, and majority of those have been contested. The one uncontested that comes to mind is Chelsea Brooks at the top of the keyway, and she knocked it down, but otherwise the looks have tended to be fairly contested, which has been their go-to for the majority of the season so far.
What a performance for Ballarat so far in that half of basketball. They head into the halftime break leading by 15 points, but of course there's a huge 20 minutes of basketball to come, with Eltham looking to turn it around and add to their record that they've managed to forge so far in this season of NBL1. They don't want to give up now, so do stick around because the basketball will be hot in this second half of basketball. We'll be back in just a few minutes and we'll see what Eltham can do to turn it around. Well, welcome back. This afternoon's basketball is well underway here in Eltham at the Den, as they call it. It is the Eltham Wildcats taking on the Ballarat Rush. And if you're surprised by the result so far of that first half, you're probably right to be, because this Ballarat side come in, as we've said, 0-6, and they're matching up against the 7th ranked side who are 5-2 in Eltham, or 5-3 rather. And so far, well, particularly in that second quarter, Ballarat looked the goods.
They certainly did. Anytime you're shooting the ball at 48% from the three-point line, an 11 of 23 in a half, you're going to be tough to stop. But then when you're also grabbing 11 offensive boards, it really, that summarises the game in itself, I think. But Eltham have had Mulligan and Brook score 27 points between the two of them. On the flip to that, their starting guard group of Ellis, Schweers and Panousis have just 7 between them. So Ballarat are certainly playing to their strengths and taking away Eltham's at the moment from that guard rotation. Ballarat underway with Bow looking to go inside. Hackman was dangerous in that first half.
At 13 points.
13 of her own, yeah. Into Bow. And that is an area that Mulligan and Brook certainly control the paint.
It was 20 apiece at quarter time, so that means it was 18-33 in that second quarter of basketball.
And Brook will be happy to get that call. She didn't get a lot of love from referee Bryce Reid in the first half, with 2 very correct calls. It's something Brook's got away with in recent times, but she gets a call her way there to start the third.
Schweers with the ball. Looks back to Brook in the corner, goes back to Schweers, and they have 8 seconds to work with. Loses touch of it, but regathers. Mulligan comes to help. Panousis now from 3. This would be a good start. Can't get it to go. It's a rebound for Hackman. The first rebound so far this afternoon.
Setting a lot of attention to Schweers. Struggling to get her shot away. And they'll prepare to give up a little bit of space on Panousis, which is dangerous, but they get away with it to start the quarter. Good steal from Brook. Just a terrific athlete, isn't she?
Panousis gives it to Alice, and she had defenders to work with, but she gets it to go off the glass for 2 points. And it's Eltham who get the first score of this third quarter of basketball. Right, as much as Ballarat really dominated in that second quarter, Eltham have a higher field goal percentage at 48%, but just haven't got the shots.
What you want. Panousis putting her body in position. Bow was aggressive for the offensive board there, did jump across the paint, and she'll take a sub
she has 4
Claire Blower comes in.
Personal fouls as Bow, and she'll really be a tough player to have on the bench, because she brings 196 centimetres of height, tallest player out on the court, and for this last 2 quarters of basketball she'll have to spend a bit of time on the bench, unfortunately, for Ballarat.
You're thinking you'd be looking at Mulligan. Yep, as they do, straight away.
Mismatch.
And here comes the doubles. See, now this becomes a little bit interesting. When those doubles come, you open up some shooters.
Panousis forces it up.
Connect.
I think that's a way that Eltham really have been able to force scores so far this season, is when they've had those double teams, left a player open, and they've been able to connect. So far that really hasn't been the case, and now just as Bow heads to the bench, we are seeing a bit of that.
There's that first play, isn't it? That first play of the double, then you get the shot away.
And the third team foul now for Ballarat, already just 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes into this third quarter of basketball, and you wonder what sort of effect that will have in the longevity of this third quarter. Schweers and Mulligan are the 2 players for the passing options. Mulligan ends up with it, gives it to Panousis. 10 seconds they have on the shot clock. Mulligan with a high screen. It's an offensive foul called on Mulligan. I don't know. Rolling to the basket.
Seemed a little rough, I think.
The Ballarat player was forced off her feet, but
she did force herself over the top of the screen.
That's right, yeah. So
anyway, I have been proven wrong by referee coach Steve Chadd on many occasions in the last couple of weeks, so
Schweers does a good job to keep it in Eltham hands.
Good second effort. Yes, with referee coach Steve Chadd working in the office now, I've been corrected many times on what we believed was a correct call. There's They've worked to get her open.
Schweers is fouled. So in lieu of not hitting a 3 so far this afternoon, she'll have 3 free throws to work with. And she's already hit 2 free throws. That was her 2 points that she's got so far this afternoon. And she's looking to make it 5 if she can hit all 3 of these.
And he's now 14 fouls in 2 minutes and 11 seconds. 14 fouls.
None of them really undeserved, you wouldn't think, as well. So, yeah, Ballarat just a little loose in these first couple of minutes of play. Schweers can't make the first. Header on the seconds. Best on the third.
Like games of the past, just got to chip away at this. It's not going to be one big run. It'll just be chipping away. And back to 11. It was 15.
If my memory serves me well, they've probably been starting better in the first half and sort of fallen away in these third and fourth quarters. So
yeah, you're right.
They'll have to do the opposite of that this afternoon.
There's that post catch again. Unlike Brook not to convert around the rim, Ballarat sent 3 or 4 players to that one and got the rewards of the defensive rebound.
Hackman gives it back. Now Blower. She's yet to hit the score line so far. Ballarat Junior.
Transition three.
Bang! Hits her first 3.
It's her favourite.
And all of a sudden the crowd are getting into it.
Might have been a word or two from the Ballarat bench then, because Schweers are not afraid to have a look and say something back. But transition 3s are her favourite.
You'd say a high percentage on transition 3s than on those open shots from plays, really, so far this season.
That's a nice find. That's a great
Cochran
pass.
gets 2 points.
And Moore with a great find in the dunker spot. So Cochran. This has just gone to another level.
10 points.
Eltham's reacted to that first half, and Ballarat just starting to go with it now.
Mulligan, keep in mind, Ballarat are on 4 fouls.
And another one from Cochran.
Oh, Cochran, this has been huge. Jenkins.
Mulligan hasn't experienced that too much in her first 5-6 games here in Australia. She's been dominant down low, but Cochran just extreme length with those arms. Read it beautifully. They've gone small.
Panousis with 4 seconds remaining on the shot clock throws it up. Alice trying to keep it in court, but it'll fall out.
As Blower goes to the bench for a rest, they've gone with a smaller lineup. Ballarat. So Mulligan running with Hackman here, which will be certainly a challenge for her.
So it's left to Moore to do some work. Hackman now looking for another 3.
As I say that, there you go. Hackman gets open at the perimeter. Ballarat back to 13.
16 points for Hackman. She's shooting at 80% from the perimeter, 4 from 5. What a performance she's putting on. Mulligan turning back. Defender came in Cochran, but it left Brook open for 2 points. Cochran probably did the right thing in the end, but left Brook with all the room.
And change from Spencer, sending Brook to Hackman. Mulligan goes back to Cochran.
Hackman
probably a good move. Nice find there, Hackman.
And the height of Brook just forced a little bit of an awkward shot in the end. Now it's Panousis.
I feel there's a bit more run from Eltham now, don't you? There's just a little bit more purpose to what they're trying to do.
Yep.
Panousis feet in the paint, finds Mulligan then.
Yeah, that's just what they were missing in that second quarter in particular, is getting those good looks from the speed that they usually bring. And now it's starting to look a little better for the Wildcats in this third quarter. Gives it to Schweers. She's hit a 3 in this quarter. She heads inside. Another offensive rebound. And this is their 3rd possession now on this phase of play.
Geez, Laura Taylor's doing an outstanding job on Schweers, though. That extra length just causing Schweers some problems at times.
Brook knocks it in from 3. Just when they needed it to keep the momentum going. Chelsea Brook, who comes into the weekend shooting 45% from the perimeter. Oh, and then an easy shot in the end. Couldn't get it to fall, though. Cochran underneath gets it to go off the glass.
Great opportunity for Cochran here. Going head-to-head with an international. only young herself. Good opportunity for her
19 years of age is Cochrane.
to show her worth in the paint here as she goes head-to-head with Mulligan again. Mulligan draws contact. That's just a little bit of experience and strength from Mulligan over a young Cochrane.
And Cochrane is required to lift because Bow, as I mentioned, has 4 personal fouls, who would usually be leading the charge, because when Bow heads to the bench, she's replaced by 195-centimetre Cochrane, who is only young, but she's really playing out of her skin at the defensive end and the offensive end for Ballarat. And yet, Eltham are chipping away, so it's back to 8 points. So it's Jenkins again. She's shot 20 points, but they all came in that first half of basketball. She's yet to hit the scoreline. She hasn't played a great deal of minutes, but now it's 2 points from Hackman. She's so agile. Gets to the basket, puts it in for 2.
Takes herself to 18.
So Alice being forced around, finds Panousis with plenty of room. Panousis
Just hasn't been able to connect either today, Panousis. It was a good find from Ellis.
Shooting 3.
Hackman again, that lady, she's been dangerous today.
Shooting 3 from 12 for the Wildcats from the perimeter. Hello, can't get it to go in the end for a more. And now it's Panousis. Quick transition ball, Schweers. Bounces high, falls over the backboard. She's looking to find her second 3 ball, couldn't get that one to fall. Being held to just 7 points, and in large part due to the Ballarat defence, which is really forced to either take awkward shots or not take any shots at all.
14-9 quarter so far in favour of Eltham. Brooke shows on that on ball.
It was Collins who tried her best, but Eltham now with the quick transition ball. Alice with the speed. Retreats, Mulligan inside, finds 3 defenders, which means Panousis is open. Brooke is also got some room from the perimeter. Oh, Jenkins forces it out.
See what she was trying to create, Panousis, but it just didn't quite work out.
The big pass.
Hackman, here we go.
And now they just settle momentarily. 2 minutes 30 remaining. This third quarter of basketball in the corner. Amore couldn't get it to fall. Another offensive rebound potentially. It falls out of court. There's a foul called.
But that's similar to what we talked about before. Shot went, guards for Eltham flat-footed, turn and watch the shot. Those Ballarat guards, the Hackmans, the Jenkins and alike are just on the move. Reading the flight.
Hackman's the perfect contrast to flat-footed because she's just constantly on the move. She's so quick and, as I said, agile. As Cochrane knocks in a flat 2.
12-point lead to Ballarat. 2 minutes 10 remaining in the third quarter.
Ellis collects the ball, matches up against Collins, now Mulligan and Panousis. Jenkins applying the defense. Schweers now. It's Cracknell who was applying the defense on Schweers that time around, and she does so again. Schweers throws up a 3. At the right distance, but it was just slightly off to the right. Falls down. Now it's 12 points the difference. They'll be looking to extend that. Out of court, it'll be Eltham ball.
Good transition D from Schweers, ran the floor. Caused enough problems on there. Forced the turnover. Panousis to Gillam. At times, probably just haven't gone to Mulligan when they got the opportunity to do so, I think. As they've done all game, switched on to Schweers very quickly. Ellis just not probably getting the looks at Mulligan like she needs to and probably wants to. Jenkins
gathers the 31st rebound for the Rush.
Gillam done a lot of defensive jobs for Eltham this year. Goes to Hackman in this late in this third quarter. And that same play against the defensive rebound, but at the same time, unfortunately, fumbles at mid-court and Ballarat.
Eltham who get the
hands all
possession.
over it.
It felt early on in this quarter that Eltham would have a real chance to just chip away at that lead, but they've actually held it to 12 points, which is thanks in large part to the defensive effort they've managed to do in these last couple of minutes of play. Eltham had a few plays where they had shooters open, but it was only really for a short period of time because Ballarat have come alive once again. And now it's Panousis, gives it to Alice, now inwards to Mulligan. Oh, well done again.
Third shot block by Cochrane for the quarter.
Panousis gets it to fall in the end and needed to for Eltham.
But for Eltham, it's just the post catch to Mulligan. It drew 2 or 3 players to that contest. That's what they need. You want to start looking to get those shooters open at the perimeter when that occurs. If they've been their bread and butter for the last 4 or 5 weeks. For 3, no good. There's another offensive rebound.
Side for 3, and it's the
Jenkins
14th offensive rebound. Jenkins, Cochrane knocks it out.
Over the
And
back.
it'll be Eltham, who have 15.4 seconds to play in this third quarter of basketball. They'll be looking for a score because it's 10 points that separates, and they'll want it shorter than that heading into three-quarter time. All right, Panousis gives it to Schweers. Schweers now on the right hand, drives in, pulls up from mid-range, knocks it in for 2 points, pleads with the ref for a foul, but there was none to give. And now Ballarat run out the time, don't get a shot away, and as we head into three-quarter time, it's 8 points.
That was a different game, that third quarter, wasn't it? It was much more intent from Eltham to start that third quarter. And then you saw Bow go out, and I was a bit worried as to how Ballarat was going to be able to hold the fort. But to their credit, they certainly did that. We saw it get back to 7 or 8 points. But it extended back to 13, and Eltham's credit there, a late shot from Schweers gets it back to 8 again. So recent Basketball Australia Hall of Fame inductee Alison Tranquilli in the stadium here this afternoon. I believe her husband's company is a major sponsor of the Ballarat Rush program. So great to have a legend in the house here this afternoon. But yeah, terrific game we've seen here. Tyson?
Yes.
Set up for the last quarter, isn't it?
Back to the basketball. It's 18 to 11 in favour of the Eltham Wildcats in that third quarter of basketball. It was a different game in that third quarter than we saw early on, particularly in that second quarter where Ballarat really dominated. What you're seeing on your screen is your scoring leaders. Jenkins with 20 points. Brooke leads the scoring alongside Mulligan with 17 each. Rebounding leaders, of course, Jenkins, she's only short, but she's pulled down 7 rebounds. Panousis, the two short players, the two guards out there, 8 and 7. As well as Schweers. Panousis and Schweers leading the rebounders for Eltham. Right.
But the flip to that is when you see, all right, there's only 4 3-point attempts from Ballarat there in the third quarter, but when you see 27 3-point attempts put up, that's 15 rebounds you're going to see generally go a little longer than normal. And I guess that's reflected when you look at the rebounds for... When you look at the offensive rebounds for Ballarat and the defensive rebounds for Eltham, it's probably not all that surprising that a few guards are in the mix. Sorry to run away from the game and get distracted by a legend in Alison Tranquilli there for a second, but a multiple-time Olympian, I think, deserves a little bit of a shout-out.
Deserves the recognition.
And recognition to Ballarat's sponsors, rather than just our own Laverne and Lauren Orthodontics here at Eltham for the women's team.
Good to see a couple of Ballarat supporters come along this afternoon. Mother of Sam Short for Ballarat, just heading over to meet her friends over there on the other side. As we start this final quarter of basketball, it's 8 points the difference. And it is Ballarat who lead, but Eltham with a fair bit of momentum. They won that third quarter by 7 points. And now can Hackman put a dagger in to start this final quarter? She can't.
Interesting that they have started Bow here in the start of the fourth. She has got 4 fouls. She sat for 8 minutes of that third quarter, and they've backed her in to start the fourth as Schweers, aside from that transition 3, just hasn't been able to connect. And you're thinking that shooting mentality will come forth. She'd be due to connect, you would think.
Coach Spencer not particularly pleased with that play either, because they had a chance to get the first score of this final quarter, but now it's back in the hands of the Rush. And the player with 4 personal fouls, it's Bow. And she gives it off to Amore. Now some space, it's Hackman. Panousis and Alice combining for defense, and now again from 3.
Panousis given the job on Hackman. He's gone to his captain to slow Hackman down.
29 3-point attempts so far for Ballarat. 15 for Eltham, who only hit 3 of them. Schweers again with the ball, gives it to Gillum, and now Alice will gather it. 4 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Double teamed, leaves Mulligan open. They're going to run out of time here. Gillum throws it up.
Fantastic work from Ballarat. Unfortunately, just having fumbles at the wrong times for Eltham, but Ballarat, to their credit defensively, have been outstanding with their scout today.
Eltham are going to have to find something a little bit extra in this final quarter of basketball because it's still 8 points, yet to score either team. Hackman with the ball, Panusa supplying the defense. Hackman around on that right hand, spots Bauer from 3. She can't get it to 4. It's Gillum with a big rebound. She had a bit to work with and she pulled it down hard. It gives it to Panusas now. Minute and a half or so in this first quarter. Schweers from the corner, knocks it in for 3. And it's back to 5 points. A much-needed second 3 ball from Schweers.
Just got the body weight of the Ballarat defender to head towards the ball, giving her that extra moment to get the shot away once the ball landed in Schweers' hands. Help from Ellis.
There, you'd think. Knocked her hand.
And, yeah, no, good call from directly in front of us.
Schweers, you'd say, has been quiet this afternoon, but she has got 12 points. So
no way Gemma Tyrrell was going to let that slide, that one. You've got to let the guards got to come from underneath, not over the top of the hand.
Bow with some room at the elbow, puts it in for 2 points. And equally, Ballarat with a handy score of their own, because they do want to stem the flow that Eltham are developing with the home crowd getting behind them. Mulligan, Schweers cutting underneath. Mulligan gets her way to the basket and puts it in for 2 points. Mulligan now with 19 points, leads the scoring for the Wildcats. Brooke has 17. The tall players for Eltham have been the leading scorers from the outset and throughout. And now Bow looks inside to Cochran. The 2 tall players combining. A foul from Gillum will be 2 free throws from Cochran.
It's a rare scenario for Eltham to be outsized down low, but they've gone with Gillum in the 4. While Brooke has a bit of a rest to start the 4th. Jenkins comes in for Hackman, and we see Blower come in here for Bow.
She'll be recycled back onto the court, no doubt. Will Bow. Falls for Cochran, shooting 75% from the free throw line this season.
Been good today. Been terrific today, Cochran.
Can't make the second. Gillum pulls down another strong rebound.
Tough.
Has 3 rebounds, 2 of which in this final quarter of basketball. Now Panusas.
Top, no. Steadied. Looking for some space here.
So Panusas retreats, puts it up. Can't get it to go. Not a great deal of motion in that play of basketball.
No.
So coming across, it was Blower. She now rolls to the basket, gathers it mid-range area, gives it to Cochran, a couple of defenders to work with. 9 seconds remaining on the shot clock, gives it to Amore. Now down to 5 seconds. Schweers gets a hand in there, tries to knock it out. Give it to Cochran. They force up a shot. Schweers with the defensive rebound. Her 7th rebound. Chelsea Schweers. Now Gillum. 6 points is what separates. It's the Ballarat squad, the away squad leading so far. Sean Gillum from 3. It was straight, too long.
Good from behind, didn't it?
It's a foul called. And in the last quarter, we saw the Rush, who had 4 team fouls in the first couple of minutes. And now it's the Wildcats with the fouls in this final quarter. Timeout taken for Ballarat.
Just an interesting position we sit at the moment. Eltham, you'd think, has been the better of the first 3.5 minutes, but they do now sit on 3 fouls, and it is still the 6-point difference. They probably just haven't eaten into that lead like they would have expected. They're winning the quarter by 2, but we are certainly poised for a terrific last 6.5 minutes here.
Greg Jeffers, who wins it from here?
I'm biased. Well, as CEO of Eltham, I can't say anything but Eltham winning, can I? Really? Let's be honest. That's an unfair question. I turn the tables back onto you, Tyson.
Yeah.
I think that's a more fair question to ask.
I think. Look, I'm not going to give a straightforward answer, but I think it'll be a close finish. I don't think either team's going to run away with it because both teams sort of. Well, I mean, it was 20 apiece at quarter time, and that first quarter has sort of been indicative of how it's played, you know, outside of that second quarter, really, because both teams looking to score at both ends. Ballarat, they had 51 points at half time, was it?
Something like 53 at half time.
and now only have 61. Gosh, they have been quiet in this second half of basketball. But nonetheless, I would say it's evenly poised.
Yeah.
Because Eltham have some experienced heads, and Bow, who probably has the most experience of Ballarat at this sort of high level of basketball, now sits on the bench with 4 personal fouls. But team fouls are a factor as well with Eltham on 3. Point being, no one knows what's going to happen. That's why we're watching it live. So it's given to Taylor, and now it's Blower. And she gives it across as well to Amore. Blower with the shot, mid-range jumper.
They're looking to set the tempo here. Look to get out and run. That's how Schweers loves it.
Schweers gives it to Ellis. What does she do? She puts it up for 3. Abby Ellis too short. Brooke knocks it down to Mulligan. A handy offensive rebound, but loses touch of it again. Cochran with the body.
It's a good tip from Brooke, but Mulligan just couldn't make it work. Ballarat through Cochran.
And Taylor from 3. Comes down to Brooke. A couple of missed shots from Ballarat leave. It leaves Eltham with another opportunity for a score. And so Schweers now from 3. Chelsea Schweers with her 3rd 3.
It was a terrific find from Mulligan. They went that high-low. Schweers opened up on the weak side, and Mulligan fed it beautifully.
Back to just 3 points the difference. They haven't played perfectly, Eltham, by any stretch of the imagination, but they've brought what was a 18-point lead back down to just 3 over the course of these last 2 periods of play. It's a travelling violation called, and Eltham now with another possession. The shot won't count, and Bow re-enters the court. The exchange for Blower, and a woman who has been prolific, Hackman, necessarily enters the court once again. And now 2 really strong 5s taking on each other with 5 minutes to play in his final quarter of basketball.
With Mulligan on 3, Bow on 4, you've got Ellis on 4 for Eltham as well. Oh, they ran
Schweers
that.
back cuts.
They
Gets
ran
it
that
up for an easy 2.
I'm going to say 6 times in a row against Frankston last night. Coach Spence has kept it up his sleeve and uses it out of the timeout there beautifully, and we're back to a 1-point game.
Schweers all of a sudden has 17 points. And now it's just 1 point, as you mentioned. Bow, does she shoot the 3?
No.
Elects not to. And now in the corner. Yeah, their shooting hasn't been great, really, in this final quarter for Ballarat.
And they're running again. Ellis is out. You're not going to slow her down.
Another transition ball. Gives it to Panousis. Mid-range jumper. Continuing the momentum. Panousis puts it in. And Eltham are leading by 1 point.
Ballarat need to show some composure here. Jenkins was massive in the second quarter. Turns the corner.
Oh, Bow with a big rebound. Puts it in for 2 points.
I'm not sure whose fingers that came off last, but 2 points is 2 points.
It was 38-53 in favour of the Rush at half-time. And now it's the Eltham Wildcats who trail by just 1 point. Just under 4 minutes to go in the final quarter of basketball.
That's you kind of do sit there and you ask at that time out as to who's going to win it from here. And you do have to look, and you're thinking Panousis was 2 of 10. You got Schweers at 2 of 10. There's a lot of people who are used to connecting. A lot of people that are high scorers that just hadn't hit buckets today. And that's more credit to Ballarat than anything else in the way they've defended. But you have to think Eltham players were due to get going. So they go to Mulligan in the short corner. Takes on Bow. Well defended. Haven't had too many players of Bow's height take on Mulligan in this early part of the year.
A really good matchup, those 2 players. Similar height, similar build. Oh, left Bow open.
Poor rotation.
Schweers tried her best, but it was an easy 2 points to Bow. Back out to 3 points the difference, 3 minutes remaining. Couple of defenders high. Brooke now gives it back to Schweers. And now captain Vanessa Panousis. Jenkins matches up against her. 3 minutes exactly remaining. 3 points the difference. Now Schweers just keeps it in court. Brooke gives it back to Panousis. What does she do? Ooh, the pass to Brooke was just slightly off. Brooke wasn't really anticipating it either. Left the ball to just
expecting the shot to go, wasn't she? Full credit to Ballarat. They stem the tide, got themselves out to a 3-point lead after being down by 1 for the first time since the first quarter. Hackman for 3. She was huge.
She's had 18 points as Hackman. She's shooting 47% from the field. She's got 3 rebounds. She has 4 fouls though.
That's the best look she's had for a little while, Hackman.
And Now it's Panousis again. Gives it to Mulligan. Schweiz presents. Defense from Taylor. She's been strong at the defensive end. Schweiz looking for more points in the net and then out straight away. And a defensive rebound. Oh, foul called at the end. And Brooke Bow heads to the free throw line. Eltham leading the rebounds 46-39.
She takes a step half a second earlier, and that pass probably doesn't go in. Just probably hung on that weak side that little bit too long, Brooke. Encourage that pass to get fed in. Full credit to Ballarat. Bow for 2.
The hush across the stadium here in Eltham. Bow makes the first. Can she make the second as well? And she does exactly that. So it's 5 points the difference. 2 minutes remaining. Panousis with the ball. Mulligan sets a high screen, then rolls towards the basket. Brooke has got some room. Bow would be her matchup. She does give it to that matchup I just mentioned. Now Alice. Alice heading inside. Looks to Mulligan, the better shot option. Puts it in for 2 points. Abby Alice again finds another assist.
Forces the rotation. Great find from Ellis.
So Hackman now with the ball. Brooke plays the defense. Panousis now matching up against Amore. Oh, the pass was slightly too high, but she kept it in quarters. Well negotiated by Hackman, stepping back for 2 points. Can't get it to go. Another rebound and an easy 2 points in the end for Taylor in the dying seconds of the shot clock.
And we're back to 5, minute 23 to go.
Panousis gives it to Brooke. Now it's Alice. Brooks comes across for the pick. Now Mulligan. Brooke backing her way in. It's a mismatch. She should find a way. No, out of court.
Things just have not gone right, have they? There's those fumbles at the wrong times from the Eltham women today. They've just been littered throughout the game. Just fumbles when they haven't needed them.
Despite their best efforts, and they really have turned it around after what was a pretty ugly second quarter of basketball from the Wildcats. And it is 5 points, but with just a minute and 12 seconds remaining, Ballarat look the goods for this last final phase of play. Now, can they get a score on this possession heading out? What will they be talking about at this timeout, both teams?
Well, Ballarat will be looking to run a deep clock here. Looking to get, I would have thought, a post catch late in that shot clock for Eltham. You want to make any shot they have contested at this point. No need to foul. Still 2 shots in it. You're looking to force a contested jumper, I would have thought. It's been what they do at the other end of the floor. If they can get themselves a stop, I would have thought you'd be, their first go-to every time is transition, but you'd be looking to get yourself a catch in low, down low. There's a bit to happen before that happens, because if Ballarat score here, it's going to be tough to come back.
Every defensive foul for Eltham will be an automatic 2 free throws for Ballarat from this stage. What do? They decide to advance the ball, so they'll have 14 seconds. What do you make of that decision?
I think there's a lot of coaches still coming to grips with the opportunities that are available to them.
Yeah, I think so too. So they shave 10 seconds off their shot clock, and it'll be Ballarat to inbound. Jenkins presents. Panousis will be applying the defense.
At the same time, coaches will be working their special scenarios such as this within training and know what they want out of it.
If they miss the shot, Ballarat are very likely to pull down an offensive rebound, given how they've been playing so far.
They force a contested jumper, but they give up the rebound. They get another 14, which is as good as their 24 they would have had at the start anyway.
Pulled in 18 offensive boards. And now heading inside, it was Amore, puts it off the glass for 2 points. And all of a sudden, it's out to 7.
Well, Eltham forced the contested jumper, which is what we suggested they were looking to do. Did not anticipate giving up the offensive rebound, which unfortunately was their undoing in that first half and gave Ballarat the lead that they did. So we're at 7 points, Ballarat lead, 40.4 seconds to go.
You know, across the stats sheet writ large, it's been a really even contest. Field goal percentage, they're both shooting around 40%, 38 and 41. Free throws have been solid as well. Rebounds 46 to 41 in favour of the Wildcats, but the O-boards have been 18 to 14. Probably a little difference there from Ballarat. The assists 19 and 17, a couple of steals. And obviously the turnover count's probably the most significant difference. Eltham with 17, Ballarat with 9, which has been a factor, no doubt.
Yeah, I think those offensive rebounds for the most part have come in that second quarter. And those turnovers have they felt like, it's, as I said before, just seem to have been littered throughout the game. Just fumbles more than anything else.
And so Eltham elect not to advance the ball this time around. And so they'll have 24 seconds to work with.
What do I know, Tyson? Because
No,
I'm moving more into the admin part of the world, the sports management part of the world, less into the coaching. So full credit to the coaches who make their decisions here. As Eltham
worked for Ballarat in the last play.
35.
Schweers turns to the basket.
They got their quick shot away anyway.
What do they decide to do? Panusas goes up and fouls.
Unsportsmanlike.
Sportsmanlike foul called. And so they'll regain their possession.
Well, that has been in for some time. So that is one that players should probably know to deal with that a little differently at this point. That just has not worked for them today. I can't remember them having been 5 of 20 at the three-point line this year, the Eltham women, and that is to take absolutely nothing away from Ballarat. They have defended extraordinarily well since the outset and forced contested threes. As Ballarat hit 1 of 2, get the lead to 8, 29 seconds to go.
They're shooting 10% less than their usual three-point percentage, are Eltham. Just 25%, 5 from 20. And now, with 29 seconds remaining, 8 points is what separates. There's Amore who fell to the ground. They do inbound eventually. Jenkins and Panusas. 26 seconds remaining now. Great ball control from Jenkins. And now the pass. And in the dying seconds of the shot clock, another offensive rebound. An easy 2 points. Story of the day.
Story of the afternoon.
Yeah.
10 points, 10 seconds left.
Panusas looks inside. Mulligan with 2 points. And now the clock will run out and time will expire on what has been the first win for the Ballarat Rush. Plenty of smiles on their faces. Eltham, on the other hand, commiserations to them because they've lost what they would have thought would be a very winnable game.
And to be honest, that was a little bit, looked like the mindset from some players at the start. It looked a little bit slow at the start and looked like they'd played a little bit of their grand final last night against Frankston, getting that win. But Ballarat, I said at the start, looked like they'd scouted us extremely well and they executed the game plan. Didn't give Schweers the space that she probably is normally given. They had the size to go with Brooke and Mulligan down low. Full credit to Ballarat, and they crashed those offensive boards. It seems like we talked about it all game, but that second quarter and then a couple of plays late in the match was significant as Ballarat get their first win on the board.
And Eltham now have a 5-4 record after this second match of the double-header. And Ballarat rightly are very pleased with their performance this afternoon. They walk away victors by 8 points. Leading the scoring for the Ballarat Miners was Jenkins, who had 20 points. Hackman had 18. Bow had 12. Bow probably has more to come in this season, you'd feel. And then for the Wildcats, Mulligan put up 23. Schweers had 17, most of which came in that second half of basketball. Chelsea Brooke had 17 as well. So, as I mentioned, a solid performance from the Ballarat Rush. The men team getting around them. Ballarat, under the coach direction of Eric Hayes, will leave Eltham with their first win of the season. Greg Jeffers having a look at the stat sheet. What are you seeing?
I think we've covered, to be honest, I think we've covered everything. Nothing really different from that final stat sheet than what we'd been talking about late in the game. And congratulations to Ballarat. We've got every team in NBL1, men's and women's, now on the board with wins, which is a step up on what has occurred in past years of SEABL. And yeah, it's a great sign for the league. Ballarat, we all said Ballarat was better than we said right from the outset. They weren't an 0-7 side. They're far stronger than that. And both imports on the floor, which they haven't had to this point. Their win was going to come sooner rather than later. And as I said, they took Kilsyth, which I highly regard in terms of their lineup. They took Kilsyth for 2.5, 3 quarters last night, and Kilsyth blew them away in the end. But you know, I think that was always a sign it was going to be a tough game here for Eltham today.
So there's work to do for Eltham, work to do for Ballarat as well, despite their victory, because plenty of games left in this season. And as you can see on your screens, Ballarat men, an imposing force, have stepped onto the court. And what that means is that in just a short half an hour, there is one more match to come this afternoon. What's set to be an interesting one, I think, because Ballarat, such a class side, come up against Eltham, desperate for a win. They come into the match opposite ends of the ladder, really, but with the home support of Eltham, no doubt there'll be plenty of excitement. Some high-flying bodies, no doubt, a few dunks you'd expect. Plenty of action still to come this afternoon from Eltham. It was Ballarat with the first win. They win by 8 points, 80-72. You've been watching NBL1. I'm Tyson Whelan, joined by Greg Jeffers. We'll be back on the opposite broadcast. Join us then.
Thank you.